cliffside. My pronouns are they, them. And this is cliffside permaculture. What are you doing up there, Crazy? Hello, and welcome yet again to the cliffside. Thank you for visiting again, or for visiting the first time. Love you guys. We have over 400 now, and part of me is thinking maybe I should call yins the cliffhangers because you're hanging out at the cliff. What do you think about it? So, here we have a cliffside, and I want to do a tour today. I'm struggling to get it done though, and I'll tell you why. It's because my GoPro after 2 years is really starting to cut up a bit. I went and got a new battery and chugged and unchugged the SD card, but it was shutting off after like 10 to 5 seconds, and it's not like a space thing. So hopefully I'll be able to do this. Hopefully we'll succeed. So yeah, let's have a look around at what's been going on, because I've been dealing with this camera thing, so it's probably not been recent that I did a whole big tour. This row of potted echinacea that are available, this one happened to end up co-planted with an invasive columbine, not invasive, non-native columbine. This is some sort of primrose family, and I need to figure out what it is. I've had it for a few years. And then there's Monarda and quite a few buffalo currant. Over here looks like I've got a itty bitty little harvest of raspberries coming up. And this one that was struggling from too much sun, of the two varieties of Arctic raspberry, is doing better. It's doing better, so that's good. So this is my potted plants ready to go nursery. This is the section. I've gotten most of the bulbs out from here to here. Gotta finish. Go into my library, there's a recent, go channel, and then go like click my channel name, and then once you're at the channel page, which should be able to pop up in the background, especially if on your phone, you just minimize it, and then up at the top there's one called videos. It'll be around about here when you get there, and from there you'll be able to see one called giveaway. If you put in a guess on how many bulbs are going to be in this row, then you entered yourself. Write the word guess, you'll see the rules, and you'll be able to know if give a guess how many bulbs are in there if you didn't yet. So we did pass 400. That's super exciting. This one's doing good. I have a bunch more baby Joe pies by seed than I need, so I either need to transplant those like down the hill, because that would be a good place for them. They do a really good job of retaining soil, or I need to pot them up and like find new homes for them, sell them, something like that. It is just barely starting to sprinkle. I've got some clay in that bin, but it just kind of blew in there, so that's my fault. It rained like crazy for 2 days. I got drenched coming home from work, and the driving was really dangerous, like really, really dangerous. So there's that. But I also discovered that I think digging deeper had the opposite effect that I had hoped. I thought it would bring in more water from the water table, but instead it's creating drainage. So I guess I got to get in there deeper with the clay that I do have left. And I've been pulling some out of, every trench is going to have clay at the bottom, so there's like a unlimited quantity. Fun fact, well, first fun fact, the quail are really loving this. Aren't they feisty? You want to see what feisty does? That's what feisty does. That's why you call feisty, is because you hate me. But he's nice to his hens, so that's okay. Also, that doesn't hurt. there's a sensation to it, but I wouldn't call the sensation pain. I had been trying to grow sweet potatoes. Like, I couldn't get anything to put out little sets on it. And then it popped up out of my compost. So I guess I'm gonna have sweet potatoes in my compost in the bird cage. And then I saw some starting to sprout, and I'm not quite sure how to get them properly started because I was doing such a bad job earlier when you all had your instructions up. How feisty. He's just gonna follow me around and try and eat me. But these ones started to sprout, so I put them in a pot as is. But I think I could take the... Oh, you all experts have a name for those little sprigs, but I forget the word for it. Starts of some sort. I've been eating raspberries galore, as I expected. So challenging myself to weigh things when I am generally a hand-to-mouth gardener during July and August has been really, really difficult. I've done a terrible job at weighing my food during July, and now we're halfway through August. But I do have May and June logged, and I can calculate what the eggs were gonna be. Maybe we'll end up successfully weighing some apples, but yeah, I'm not the weighing things type. I did get some copper sulfate liquid suspension, which is an organic solution to apple scab. So, yeah, but it doesn't reach super far, so I don't know how far up I got. But it's at least putting out new green leaves, so it's doing something. Look how well my Miyoga ginger's doing. I think a little later in the season I'm supposed to get little spicy flowers coming up out of the ground. And then I am going to try and eat some of the root, because it says it's edible. It just doesn't say that that's the primary crop. Just today I got my first of the tomatoes that bred themselves in my yard. These are current sized tomatoes. They only get about that big. They are sweet. They're very frost hardy. And I do owe Wild Edibles some seeds on it. She was interested, but I'm gonna get this out of here. But I finally got my first tomatoes today. Just 3 little, you know, current sized ones. I'm gonna have to tie that branch up because otherwise I'm not gonna be able to get in there. I've been eating a lot of, that's called lamb's quarters, and I forgot to point it out while we were looking at the aviary. This tall hedge looking thing is an annual amaranth family green, native to my region, and I just let it grow, and oh boy howdy did it grow, huh? So that's there. My secret seed challenge is starting to reveal itself. Patient farmer. Tomatillos? I mean, it could be ground cherry, but that's ground cherry. So leaf pattern wise, I think that's tomatillos, and that's exciting. Also grows a lot faster than ground cherry, apparently. I want to transplant one of those ground cherries, like maybe up here or something. They're supposed to be perennials. We'll find out. All of the flowers frosted off of my plum, and I'm also thinking of relocating this plum and supplanting it with to here, actually, because it needs fenced. So inside this fence I think would be good, and because the deer and everything eat the leaves right off it. And then from there, I do think this will be where I put a quince. That said, I already ordered a bunch of plants for fall/spring delivery. Oh, you look like bad guys. That's some variety of stink bug. A really colorful variety of stink bug hanging out in the radishes there. I've got tomatoes from a friend that are big guys. Looky, they're pretty big. And then these ones are pretty big, but that one's also got like a little bit of slug damage down the side. So, oh, the leaf was in the way. Sorry. Hold on. What are we doing here? There we go. And then over here, these were self-seeded, and I have yet to figure out what they are, but they look at how many are on a cluster. That's so many. Some of them have been falling. And then over here is where I got my first currant tomato from. So I got 2 plants of the currant tomatoes. Usually I have like hundreds of these and have to weed them out. But this variety happened on my location. It happened as a cross between Sweet 1000 and Yellow Pear one year, and they are just so hardy of a plant that I call them my guerrilla gardening variety. You could throw an overripe tomato into, ooh, bee in my ear. It's my fault for walking through them like that. They really, really love this. And it was a little one, so I think it was more of a like honeybee or baby bumble. There's a honeybee. The neighbor is hosting a local apiarist. Look at all your pollen, little friend. So, who has about 80 or 90 hives around the city. I do have potatoes and something that could be called garden huckleberry or deadly nightshade, depending on which era of botanist you'd like to believe. But once these berries are completely black, if you've got the right variety, then they're edible. And they're actually delicious. They're like not full-on candy, but oh, they're good. They're like a medium sweet candy. They're so good. Oh, look, what kind are you? These tomatoes through here, I never ended up thinning them because I'm a terrible person, basically. But these are from Wild Edibles Sent Me Seeds. So we'll tag a little, I'll put a thing in the corner so you can click and go over and see that channel. All the way from Canada. So those are tomatoes from Canada. And these ground cherries are from the, what were they called? Experimental Farm Network, which is a US company. And they're hardy to Colorado. Did you just see that rabbit go by? I didn't see the rabbit till it was running. And I kept promising to do a video on my good old... Hi, Bumba. Were you tiny bun? Are you all grown up? There was a tiny bun who was like that tall, that long. Total. Excuse me. Oh gosh, there's a hole in this. There's a hole in that tomato too. Ugh. Something's eating my tomatoes. The slugs are so bad here. So I was gonna harvest these and show them, but I think I'll just do like a comparison of like different varieties. Oh, is that a yummy? That's yummy, huh? That's good. Go ahead, eat the clover. That sounds good to me. A comparison of celery substitute, how tall it can get, and its pros and cons. And then we can open up my walkway here. Finally, jeez. I've run alternate. Bye-bye, Bun Bun. I've run alternate of this. See how that hose is open? Let me hold on to the camera real well. and how the water level is just below, by about 2 inches, the overflow, which helps reduce flood state issues. There's this hose that is just gravity fed up to my persimmon, because the persimmon's starting to dry off and it never did leaf out. And I've done some research, and it says that they often don't leaf out until fall, their first year, but I think it needs a lot more water. So parts of this branch are still wick, but that part snapped right off, and that one just did too. So that's one way to tell if a dormant plant, one that won't break dormancy easily, is still alive, is bendiness. If it snaps, that part's dead. But then, you know, test farther down, and hopefully eventually this plant will start to produce something in the way of its greenery, because it sure looks dead, but it doesn't feel dead, so there's still hope. These are my noodle beans I got a late start on, but I think we'll start to see noodle beans before too long now. I didn't come out and check them enough during their first chunk of growth, because they all ended up leaning this way, but that's okay. That's okay. They can do that if they want to. There's another monarch. Make sure you go find the milkweed. There's plenty of it, honey. Or maybe it's the same monarch. New elderberry. I was seeing nuts on my older hazelnuts that are through here, but the neighbor thought they needed trimmed and didn't realize, so that's off to another year again. I'm thinking of unfolding the fence and making it a bit taller, but I need to check how tangled it is first. But that's the elderberry from the local reservoir that is been trying to be killed for over 100 years and still was roughening it. So I'm very happy to see that one doing well. I have another cluster of it down here. Yeah, I don't know. The hazelnuts keep getting bunny nibbled, so I've been trying to co-plant a snake root right alongside them so that they have like a buffer, because my replacement hedge going down along here, amidst the thornless raspberries that have been producing like crazy, these, I don't understand what's happening here. Maybe this section's down water flow from something nasty, but also maybe it's just too much nitrogen. But this section, because that's the neighbor's compost there, this section just died, and I don't get it. But I put in a temporary of honey locusts, which I'll just cut back a lot. I'm sure they'll bush out more than I wish at some point, but we'll deal with that when we get there. But I am thinking, like, eventually I want these hazelnuts that are planted every, well, there was one there too, every few feet. I want them to take over for the super invasive Rosa Sharon, which you can see what this is now. I'm sure most of the US probably recognizes these. They are super invasive, and this is a young one here. And the reason they're so invasive is because they just seed so heavily. In the early spring, it's just a carpet of their seedlings through here. So, yeah, that's rough. There are seedless varieties, so if you really love them and want them, look into that. Because you don't need it to be the entire neighborhood's wild space overrun by it like it is down through here. This is just all Rosa Sharon decimating everything. So you can see how bunny nibbled this is. including that one. Now I think I'm going to move this one and put in some sort of hutch here. Some sort of hutch here. In a major toss-up between making another natural quail space here or housing chickens here, because apparently if you keep quail natural enough, they start to sit on their own eggs. I don't know. I think I'm going to give it a try with the aviary here, and maybe I'd be able to do this as a multi-use space. I'm not sure. And then of course there's the whole jungle that has stairs going down to it down here, amidst the poke salad, which would not be edible now because it's producing berries and does require care. Haphazard Homestead, I think it was. I found an amazing video showing that this leafy green in early spring used to be the most consumed canned vegetable in the US. And that channel was even showing the historic can with the paper still on it, which was pretty neat, and talking about how their grandfather used to be one of the people that would sell their pickings to the canning company, and the only reason that it stopped being a canned good was because they weren't willing to pay enough to keep people interested in harvesting for them in sufficient quantities. This is one black locust. I planted a bunch of black locust seeds, which I know you all remember because you probably watched me do it, and I don't see them popping up, but I do have more seeds in the fridge from another genetic, here's another Rose of Sharon, genetic black locust. I don't think I want a curly dock right there either. So I need to give it another inspection, another thorough inspection down here to see what did come up, and then somehow figure out how to try again. Because what I've found for black locust personally is that I cannot get it to transplant for nothing. So I need to start it from seed, and maybe if I started it in a seeding medium, I could transplant it with a good root ball on it. But I've tried like digging them up and taking them like I've seen so many people do, and I can't get it to happen. It ain't working. But black locust is native to my region, so it is not invasive here, but it is only native at the very tippy top most of Appalachia, which, as much as Pittsburgh would prefer not to be affiliated, that is our geographical region for sure. So second tier's down there. There's another stairwell down there, but this looks like Tick City right now, and I don't think I'm prepared. So we'll just stop the video down here. I have not seen any mushrooms. I did put in the Phoenix oyster mushroom spawn right here, but I haven't seen anything, but I also probably haven't been down here enough to know. But I don't see anything either, so I don't know. We could always get more spawn. Or maybe this is its first year of getting established. If you have any thoughts about keeping or getting rid of some of the really twisty and gnarly coppiced black walnut that I have along here, we'll talk about that next. And I hope you're having a really good day. This is a super long one. I'll put out a shorter one in tandem, just as a little update. They'll come out throughout the week. So if you weren't up for this long one, I'm sorry. Thank you for visiting the cliffside. Cliffhangers. I don't know. If you hate it, let me know. If you have different thoughts, let me know. I'm really interested in whether that sounds terrible to you, but I think I like calling it cliffhangers, because I don't do cliffhangers for like video to video, but I'm hanging out on a cliff, and so are you. Thank you so much for visiting the cliffside. This has been Permaculture. Take care. Bye.